Hey everyone and welcome back, and in today's video we're going to be talking about Gigio Donnarumma. And I know we're all fed up about this topic of conversation right now, but it's so hot, it's so talked about that I feel like we have to do it once more and just round things up. And regardless of what the conclusion is, or regardless of what the solution is, if he wants to stay or if he wants to go, I feel like it's just time to talk about this right now. And you might find it quite fitting because I've changed the background a little bit. I've kind of come out the flat with my standard sofa and TV layout, and I have a bit more Milan merchandise, and I feel like talking about a player who's not quite showing loyalty, not quite showing respect for the shirt. And there's a man up there who's known for perhaps being the most respectful person to the Milan shirt in the club history, Paolo Maldini. And it's quite ironic that the player right now is negotiating a contract with that same person who spent 20 plus years at the club. And I think you can tell by my tone where I'm going with this one. I'm quite insulted how it's gotten to this point, but look, let's talk about him. Let's talk about Gigio Donnarumma. So as a quick fire profile of the player, Donnarumma is 22 years old. He is a obviously tremendous goalkeeper. He's a talent that's probably known worldwide as the next biggest thing, the next Buffon, whatever you want to call him. He's played, up until this point, 247 Milan games. He is just phenomenal. He is someone who has increased his potential, has increased his performances. He's just he's an incredible player. He's a generational talent. There's no kidding about that. But I guess the only reason why we're at this point right now, the only reason why we're doing this video and this discussion is, and I'm going to say it, is his agent, Mino Raiola, who is obviously known for having some of the best players in world football. We talk about Haaland, we talk about Ibrahimovic, we talk about Paul Pogba. They all go to this agent because they know that they can get the best deal going. And I don't blame Donnarumma for going for him, but I guess he's also the reason we're at this bypass right now. So currently Donnarumma earns 6 million euros a year, which is quite a lot for a 22-year-old goalkeeper who has not played a single Champions League game, who has not played a single international tournament, whether it be in the Euros or the World Cup for Italy. It's a lot of money to bank on someone who is obviously in a position as well that doesn't usually pay quite well. Goalkeepers are probably one of the least paid players, positions in world football. It's a lot of money that he's currently on, and there's no kidding about it. But we're not even talking about that. We're talking about his pot getting even bigger. Milan are currently offering around 8 million euros for a renewal deal. I'm guessing for about 4 to 5 years to keep him locked in at the club. And he's currently refusing it, which begs the question as, how much does he really want? And rumours have come out, whether it's 12 million euros, whether it's, I've even heard 16 million euros. So let's talk about why he hasn't signed on. And obviously there's that money, there's that factor, whether it's the money aspect of it. Perhaps it's the player's ambition. Does he want to finally play in the Champions League? And for that, I feel his pain. Milan has not delivered that part of the expectations where you would think for playing a club like Milan, you'd think they would have stepped up and obviously gotten their act together and got us back into the Champions League. So I don't discredit his ambition for not signing a renewal. And there's also the fact that he wants to see where the Milan project is going, and is it going in the right direction? And of course, it's been what has been a encouraging year, which is we're sort of teetering our way, hopefully, to a 4th place spot. We're competing for it, which is a massive improvement to our previous years. But clearly that doesn't seem to be enough to give him that confidence to put pen to paper. So yeah, obviously as mentioned, back in 2017, Donnarumma signed his first renewal at the club. And obviously that was after breaking out as a 16-year-old goalkeeper for what was a disappointing Milan team in the mid-2010 decade. And it was a big moment for him because we really saw his intentions, Raiola's intentions, and how we can sort of be the puppet master behind negotiations and operations of his renewal. It was a really hard one. Mirabelli had to get that one over the line. There came with a lot of controversy behind it because if you think back to the under 21 Euros competition where Donnarumma hadn't yet signed for the club, the Chinese takeover just happened. So there was all this prospect of money coming in, and finally we're going to succeed as a club because money's here. And he wasn't signing because the question was, did he feel like he had any trust in the project? And technically in hindsight he was right. The project from the Chinese takeover was a complete bust, and it's only until recent years we've gotten our act together and improved things. But he signed that 6 million euros deal, but Mirabelli will joke about saying he got the better end of Raiola, but he had to also sign Donnarumma's older brother Antonio to a 1 million euros a year deal. And you were talking about a goalkeeper who is third choice in line and rarely plays. So did Mirabelli win that deal? No, he didn't, because you can't beat Raiola when it comes to negotiations. He will always have the upper hand because he has the player. He has the player power essentially in this. So, you know, when we look back at history, there's always been this issue when it comes to working out a renewal, and we're kind of at the second stage of it right now. That was hard as it was at trying to renew a 17, 18-year-old goalkeeper. Now he's 22. He's proven himself a little bit more when it comes to domestic football, and we're finding it really hard, and so is Maldini right now. So we've spoken about the current situation, whereas the offer on the table from Maldini is 8 million euros a year. I'm even hearing rumours that it was potentially, say if we don't get the Champions League spot, it's going to be 7 million euros plus one when it comes to bonuses, with a buyout clause of 30 million euros if we don't make that spot, so we can sign it now. There's lots of rumours coming out. We don't quite know the answer, but the only thing we do know that he hasn't signed, and it's getting to a boiling point situation right now with the fans, with, you know, you'd like to think with management, that they're really frustrated of how this has gone. And I don't quite know Donnarumma's side for it, because I feel like any form of emotion that he might portray is just masked in the fact that his action is just, there seems to be a, you know, mixed signals from it. You know, we're talking about a guy who pats and kisses the badge one moment, and he's not signing an extension with the club. And regardless if he feels like this project isn't for the future, what he could do is obviously sign for the club, and then obviously, I don't know, like agree as to say, like, if this doesn't succeed, I want to be sold. You know, put in a request to be sold or something like that. I know then the power goes to the club to then obviously make that sale happen, and for what price. But I feel like there'd be enough respect gained from management, from Maldini, to get that done if he's just not happy at the club, and also recoup some money for the club, where it's a win-win scenario for both the player and obviously, of course, AC Milan. So yeah, what now for the club? And to be honest, Maldini and management have been very proactive when it comes to sorting out what is the next step in case Donnarumma doesn't sign. And if you've, you know, had your head in the sand in recent weeks, we've been linked to basically having a deal wrapped up for, sorry if I get this pronounced wrong, Mike Maignan, I believe. He's obviously the shot stopper for Lille, who are having a very impressive season in France. He's kept around 19 clean sheets domestically. He's a very good keeper, 25 years old. The deal in itself is rumoured to be around 18 million euros, which would be a complete steal. Yeah, he seems like an incredible keeper. His wages would be around 2 million euros a year. In total, basically, the whole deal will cost us, when it comes to wages and the actual transfer fee, 43.5 million euros. And when you think about that, okay, of course, we're having to buy the player rather than obviously renew Donnarumma. If you think about the projected salary that we're trying to offer Donnarumma, 8 million euros for a certain time frame, you include the taxes, the deal that we would have to do for a 5-year renewal for Donnarumma would be in excess of 80 million euros. So financially, it makes more sense to actually go for Mike Maignan, but of course, there's the fact that we just don't want to see Donnarumma go for nothing. And to be honest, this is actually, I feel, why Milan fans care the most, why we all care. We just care about making a profit off this player. In a world where, you know, it's seen as an advantage to raise players from the youth team, we just care about making a sale. And I feel like it's gotten to the point right now for Milan fans that we know that this isn't going to end up how it traditionally should end up, like that player right up there. Maldini stayed his whole career because I guess it was just a winning club, and the environment helped his stay. In Donnarumma's situation, you know, the sky's the limit for him, and I'm not going to kid him on that, and we can't deliver that yet. So we're at a bypass. Does he feel like he can give any more years to a club he's not sure about if they're going to succeed in the project? But of course, we're the same club that showed him that, you know, the scenario to allow him to elevate himself in his career. And you have to think, if he joined another club like Inter Milan or Juventus, would he have had this opportunity? I don't think he would have. So I feel like he's obviously caught in between the lines of respect and also, of course, ambition. And of course, you know, I can't discredit a player for that. I can't discredit for a player not wanting to succeed in his career, especially when he's got the potential of Donnarumma. So we've spoken about what now, but let's speak about the fans and how we sit in this situation. And I'm sure, like many of us, and we all into agreement, that we're really fed up right now with this. We are really fed up. It came to a point where I would say in December, January, and February, I was very nervous about where this was going. You know, was he going to renew? It felt like the world was going to fall apart if he didn't. And the same kind of applies for Hakan Çalhanoğlu and his renewal deal. I don't really not that I don't really care. It's that if he doesn't sign, then I'm actually really happy that management have, from what we know, have a backup option lined up in Mike Maignan. And I feel like that for me in itself is encouraging. That's encouraging that there's life after the player, and of course the club will go on. It has to go on. Yeah, so I feel like we're all fed up with the situation, and you're seeing it right now with the Curva Sud. Of course, before the Benevento game, they approached the player outside the stadium. They wanted to have a heart-to-heart talk. Apparently, after this meeting, he was left crying after it. I don't quite believe the crocodile tears, because I understand he's at this bypass in his mind, but I feel like your actions are very, very confusing. They're leaving a lot of mixed signals. We've seen it from club legends like Billy Costa-Curta coming out saying that your actions are giving mixed signals. You claim to be one thing, but you're doing another. And we're all in agreement with this, I feel. It's just really that we want to see an answer at this right now, and unfortunately we won't know that until the end of the season, because Maldini has frozen negotiations for all contract renewals until the end of the season, because of course they probably want to know that, where we finish, what budget we have to work with, and we've got to go from there. But yeah, this is where we're at right now, which is a real shame, because it's putting Donnarumma's name through the mud. I feel like the club in itself is taking a hit, like Maldini's character and his negotiation skills. This isn't a traditional negotiation. Donnarumma's not your traditional 22-year-old goalkeeper. He is a phenomenal player. The sky's the limit. We know how good he is. We know he's potentially a generational talent. He could be, the next Buffon. He's nearly at 250 games for Milan. That's incredible for a 22-year-old. And it gets you to think of how many more games he can play. Of course, as a goalkeeper, your career transcends into the late 30s. That's if you want to be honest. And yeah, it's a real hard one, but I feel like it's a shame that we've gotten to this point where a lot of people are just fed up, and actually, I don't know, I feel like he's burnt a lot of bridges. If he does want to stay, is it too late? Is this just too late in the day to sort of recoup things? But I guess we've all got our own opinions on that one. One thing I will say, and I feel like we have to take this sort of subjective opinion when it comes to negotiations of this player and how it ends up. I feel like regardless if he stays or not, it's going to be a win-win scenario for the club. To be honest, like I said, the only reason why we care, Milan fans care, is because we're all like sort of FIFA football manager mold sort of fans, where we care about generating a sale and what that would mean for the finances of the club. Of course I do, because in a world where certain players are worth, going for 80 million euros, I joke about in previous videos like Harry Maguire or Kepa, how much is Donnarumma worth? And of course, we want to see that come. We want to see that paycheck come into the club and how we can reinvest it. That would, though, have to come at a point of signing and then selling. And I feel like if we did sign him on, we'd have to quickly sell him, because we cannot let this get towards 2 years left of his contract and go through the same cycle again and again and again. I'm fed up of dealing with Mino Raiola. Ibrahimovic is the exception, because we saw it himself. He negotiated his own contract. I don't know what future awaits Alessio Romagnoli, who's of course is the last client for Raiola when we talk about Donnarumma, Ibrahimovic and Raiola. Yeah, I feel like, the ideal scenario for me would be a sign and sell, but do we just care so much about if the money's going to come to us? Then to be honest, even if it doesn't, it's just win-win, because we talk about the money that's involved in this and how much money the whole transfer of Mike Maignan is. We need to, in my opinion, the issue isn't a goalkeeper. We can have a very good goalkeeper and still go compete for the league, but what we can't do is have a bang average attack, an inconsistent attack, an attack which, that just is fluid one moment and not the next. I'd rather see that money go towards buying an attacking midfielder, buying a second striker, buying a more offensive right winger. We all know that this is the major issue of our club, because we know that we don't score enough goals and we're not just concise enough. We haven't got that killer instinct. And we have to think about it this way: how many clubs have the goalkeeper as the highest earning player in the team? I can't think of many, to be honest. And that's where we're going down with this whole negotiation. And I'd love to say he stays forever. I felt like that was the case back in 2017 when he signed that first renewal. But I'm very discouraged about how this is going. Yeah, I feel like we're just getting to this point where fans just want to sort of not have to go through this stress every time there's a negotiation. So, guys, on this one, I started this video with a sort of negative tone on Donnarumma, and I'm going to continue with it, because I just feel like, I'm done with it. I'm really done with it. Even if he signs, I won't even go back on this.
I love the player. I think he's a phenomenal talent. He's also got some flaws. I just feel like this is a cycle that we're going to continuously go through unless we literally somehow become a mega giant club again. So, guys, I want your opinion on the goalkeeper. I want your opinion on Donnarumma. Do you want him to stay? Where do you think his future lies? Do you think even if he does stay, do you think he's going to stay with us for, you know, the long haul, like that man up there, that legend? And yeah, until next time, guys, the big game this weekend, Juventus. Come on, we need to get that win because, you know, we all hate Juventus here on this channel, don't we? So until next time, guys, Forza Milan.